People always complain about they can't hear me, so my voice is soft.
we we've got it up pretty loud because we've run into that problem before, not being able to hear people. So we turn it up pretty loud.
Yeah,
We're
so my
also
voice is soft. My husband complains about it all the time because he's hard of hearing anyway, so that doesn't help. That
Oh,
doesn't help a bit.
I think that's just a male thing. We hear what we want to
Yeah, the
hear.
weapon. What Bill
it's
Bill Cosby called it, the weapon. They can't prove that you can't hear them.
yeah.
Parachute's got his eyes on the sky, looking for saucers in the black night high. Abduction dreams and alien screams. He says they're out there more than it seems. JD's got a lens hunting for Bigfoot's trace, deep in the woods, in the shadows, embrace a rush on the ground. He's frozen in place. Did you hear that? Something's on the chase. Charming with the spirits, chasing the unknown. Answers we crave, but we're out here alone. The fear grabs high, but we're laughing its face. Spirits, cryptids, aliens, all hands chase.
So welcome to this episode of Chumming with the Spirits. We have JD, Parachun, and our lovely guest, June. We're going to be talking about dark entities.
Yeah, I think it's a topic that doesn't often get discussed well enough. I don't know if you agree with me, but it's a
Absolutely.
topic that
Yeah.
should take seriously, especially people that are in the paranormal field. And I don't know why it doesn't get talked as.
I think we go really extreme and then a little too much sometimes. Because
Well, a lot of times it's like I have friends that are Reiki masters and stuff, and they're like, they're like, we're taught not to talk about it, not to read about it, not to watch anything about it because it'll draw them to you. And it's like I tell them, I said, they don't need any help. If they want you, they'll find you. No problem.
yeah. Well, and for at least my personal experience, I know they're out there. It just if you're not looking for it, you may just breeze over it. Versus, not everything's going to be that. But I think
Yeah.
they're definitely out there. It just I don't think it's a very large. Like everything isn't a demon, but that doesn't mean
Right.
everything is one.
Right.
And that's
Absolutely. Yeah.
because I've talked to a few priests that have done exorcism, and they see a lot of them, but that's what they're going out for. We're trying to
Yeah,
find the
that's their
happy
specialty.
ones.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
You have a tendency to go. If you buy a red car, you go look for red cars at that point in time, and we're trying not to look for a red car.
So
Yeah,
I have to bring,
you see them all over the place once you have a red car.
Yeah,
yeah. So that brings up the question that I would like to ask you. We have postulated this in the paranormal field, but I think it can relate to a lot of things like you guys were just talking about, that our minds are set when we want to experience something, we're going to experience it because we're searching that out. In the paranormal field, I've heard a lot of people say that the more you do it, like investigate or go out seeking this stuff, the more it starts seeking you because it knows that you're seeking it. Would you say that the same could be true for negative entities?
It can be. The thing is, on the other side, thought becomes reality.
Yeah.
And it's the intention behind the thought that gives it power. So if your intention is to encounter a demonic entity or a negative entity, chances are you're going to. I mean, because you're putting that energy out there, saying, I want to see you. That's why I tell people when I lecture, I tell them, do not acknowledge. If you come across something that you believe to be negative, do not acknowledge it, because if you acknowledge it, you make it see you, and you really do not want to make it see you.
Well,
Plain and
that's
simple.
yeah. I mean, well, that goes back to the old superstitions of not answering your name in the woods, or you know, when you hear whistling, don't whistle back. The acknowledgement, or even the vampires
Right.
of they're trying to get you to consent to letting them come in, type thing. You're
Right.
not acknowledging them. That's so.
Yeah, but you
I,
can't believe how many people will acknowledge it.
Oh yeah,
well,
and
some of it I think
unknowingly.
it's just programming. You hear your name, or you know you
Yeah. Or you see
automatically.
something and you're like, hey, Joe, look at this, or I saw this, or I saw that, you know. And,
So
and it's like, huh? What?
one of the funniest things I bring up to him is if I'm out in the middle of the woods and I hear in the middle of the night and I hear a little kid crying for help, I'm personally not going to go help it because I know that could not be a child. But he's like,
Right.
when you have children, that dynamic changes and that instinct
It does.
kicks in.
Yeah.
So that can be
Yeah.
a ploy that they're using.
Well,
What I've sorry, I want to rabbit hole for a second.
Go ahead. That's what you do.
I've often wanted to ask this question to someone, and someone that would have expertise and answer it properly. So we know that there's entities like the Fae or the Jinn that are possibly out there that have malicious intent. How do you separate that type of entity from demonic?
Or is
So-
it all the same?
Or are they all the same?
Versus a
Yeah,
evil
I was going to say a
person.
jinn. I dealt with people in India and stuff, and to them, the jinn is a demon.
Yeah.
You know, plain and simple.
Yeah.
There is no difference. You know, and
Oh,
the
yeah,
Fae is a little bit different. You know, they're most of the time their intentions are not favorable. They're
No,
troublemakers. They like to cause problems. You know,
the
but they're
stories
not
I've read.
truly demonic. They're not truly demonic. You know, that's the difference.
Okay.
They're more
It's
neutral.
hard
Or,
if you don't deal with these things. I've been dealing with them for 50 years. If you don't deal with these things on a regular basis, you don't know what its intention is, and you don't know if it's truly a demon or truly earthbound spirit. You know, I've had people that have contacted me that say, you know, I've got this attachment because I thought it was my friend who committed suicide. So I invited him, you know, I tried to help him. And then you end up with the attachment.
So, do you think it's because people are unintentionally good-hearted that they don't fully recognize the gambit of negativity that can be associated with certain beings or entities that they just accept?
Yeah, in
I don't
some
know if I'm
ways
asking
it
the right
is. If
question.
you see, yeah, it's like if you see your friend, you know, who you know died like last year and
Yeah.
died violently or whatever, so you're going to try to help. That's just human
Yeah.
nature, you know. But the difference is if you see, say, your friend who died, and you truly look at what you're seeing, the individual that you're seeing, the only way to tell that it's a demon is to look in the eyes. Because demons, the old demons and Lucifer, have eyes that are the color of candle flame. And the lesser demons and the minions are all red-eyed. But it cannot hide its eyes. But most
Okay.
people just look at the overall picture. They don't really look at the eyes. And if they were to look at the eyes, then they would know, hey, you know, that's not my friend. He's got red eyes, man. That's not happening. You know.
That's interesting. I never thought about that before. I mean, yeah, that makes sense because eyes are the gateway to the soul.
Windows to the soul.
Yeah.
That's-
and
that's-
people don't
So-
understand. To see what I see, I don't see demons like most humans do. I did up until I was about 4.5 years old. Then I saw them through angelic eyes. So I knew, I saw them in their true form, which is a lot scarier than anything you can imagine.
I'm
And the
sure.
eyes, when you look at their eyes, you see, if you look in their eyes, you see every evil you could ever think of. Multiply it times 1,000,000,000, and you will never be the same again. And I started
Yeah.
seeing that at 4.5 years old.
Oh my gosh.
I was on Ghost Adventures, and Zach Baggins kept pushing me and wanting to see, because I can have people see what I see, and it's never a good thing. But he pushed, so I said, it's on you then. You see what I see, then you'll have to deal with that. You have to live with that for the rest of your life. And
Yeah,
he didn't regretted that. Needless to say.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you can't change someone's will,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, and I told him, I said, I got this, I got this message from a demon that said, you're going to get a call about being on Ghost Adventures, and I'm like, really, whatever. If your lips are moving, you're lying. So there you go. But, and then I get this call from Jeff Ballinger, and he says, you did an investigation and you removed demons from this location, and we want you to come and be on the show. And I'm like, he's talking, and in the middle of our conversation, he hears this massive growl, and then the phone disconnects. And he calls me right back and says, what was that? I said, nothing,
Wow.
it's just a demon. Pray continue. I get it all the time. Go on.
That's crazy. I would freak out.
But it's like, they'll come to the radio, they'll come to the television, or, they'll just, if I'm out and about, because they can't come onto my property because it's protected. But, if I'm out and about and I run across one, then it's like, you're stupid if you come to me. I died in a motorcycle accident in 1986. And I went to the other side, and that's where Michael said, this is who you truly are, not the shell that you have in the physical world. He said, your soul belongs to Ariel, the Archangel. She is a demon slayer, and she was sent back to relive human lives until she learned to have compassion for mankind, because she had no compassion. And he says, your job is to kill and remove demons. You're to help the humans. I'm like, really?
That's cool.
You couldn't give me unicorns and rainbows?
And puppy dogs and kittens. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. But
if you
he
look at
says,
the true
no,
lore,
it's because this is Ariel's specialty, and she loves killing demons. I'm like, oh,
if you look at the lore of unicorns, they're not much nicer. They,
depends.
yeah,
Depends on which version you're talking about.
yeah, they were pretty
Yeah,
ruthless.
exactly. Yeah, I could spear you. But
So when it comes
ever
to-
since then, I've come back, and he says, this is who you truly are. And he touched my forehead, and I changed. And I looked like him. I was like 7 feet tall, and I had wings, and they were like 12-foot wingspan. And I had long auburn hair and blue-green eyes, and I looked fierce. And he says, this is who you truly are. And he sent me back, and he did what he calls a merge, where he merged my soul consciousness with my physical consciousness, so that when I do a removal and I'm in person, people say they see wings coming out of my shoulders, and my eyes turn white, and my face and my voice changes. Those are the physical manifestations of her. But, I don't care about that. All I care about is killing the demon.
And helping people.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. If you kill the demon, you get rid of the problem.
So it brings up one of our. Can I talk about Tommy?
Yeah.
One of our friends from Arkansas. We did an interview with him and his wife last year. Yeah. It wasn't 2020. And they both think that they experienced a demon attaching to Tommy. and it was something like they think it was Michael.
Well, yeah, it was Archangel Michael came down and cleansed them of it.
Hmm.
He had picked it up at another location that
Yeah.
just kind of attached to him, and he was having
Yeah,
problems.
they can. Yeah, they can be like a puppy dog. They can.
Yeah,
You
burning
can.
holes in
They'll
his
follow
shirt.
you home. Yeah. Oh yeah, they can. You know what happens is they try to isolate you. They try to get you away from your support system. Your finances start going in the toilet. Your health starts going in the toilet. I mean, people start like moving away from you because they don't want to be anywhere near you. You know, even your wife or your spouse, close friends. You know, that's what they're all about because it leaves you vulnerable to them. And like I said, I've dealt with these things forever, and I know their MOs. I can
So this
actually, when I get an email from someone or a picture from someone, I can see the demon and I know its name.
so I've a lot of people. I got several questions.
Yeah, he's good at this part.
A lot of people say that they feel like something's attached to me because a lot of stuff happens, but I don't ever feel
No,
that it's negative.
it's not
Um,
negative. You know what? You know what's attached to you? It's not really attached to you. It's a part of you. You have a warrior angel soul. That's why. And the
I'll
warrior
take it.
angel is trained. The hierarchy in heaven is the Legion of Light, and when it comes to angels, the Legion of Light, which is Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Ariel. And then there are the archangels, and then there are the warrior angels. And then there are what they call the common angels. The warrior angels are like they have to be completely dedicated to the light and the service of God and the greater good. So they have to qualify. They're very special. And these warrior angels are trained by the Legion of Light. You were trained by Michael. Each
Interesting.
one is trained by a different warrior angel. I mean, by a different archangel of the Legion. And Ariel has trained hundreds of thousands of them. Each one of them have. And there are over 300,000 of them are incarnated in the world today to help out. And
Wow.
over 300 million of them in spirit form.
So this may be an off the wall question. I don't even know how to phrase it. So that the sole purpose of a demon is to bring the demise of man, right?
Yeah, kind of
In a,
make
in
you
a
miserable.
form.
Yeah, yeah. They want to make you as miserable as possible and make your life a living
If
hell. Yeah.
if they truly wanted to do that on a mass scale, why would they commit themselves to the everyday average Joe as opposed to and they may going after higher value targets? Can you
Well, I
express?
mean, I think they do. I mean, look
They
at
they do.
celebrities
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
that
yeah.
have passed
The
away at a
thing
young
is,
age.
you have to understand the hierarchy in the dark realm. The hierarchy is Lucifer and his first, second, and third in command, and then there are the old demons, which are the smartest ones and the most powerful. And then you have the lesser demons, and they are the ones you're likely to find in the physical world because they're like hormonal teenagers. They like to create chaos and suffering, and they do quite well at it. They do quite well at it.
What was uh, what would the entity that took over, like, what was the doll's name?
Oh, Annabelle.
Annabelle. Would that have been a lesser demon
No,
type?
no,
That was
that was an old demon. Yeah,
an
it
old
was an
demon.
old demon. It was attached. Yeah, it was attached, and it was just having fun.
Yeah, because the stories that you read about that, it didn't really focus. It was more an overscaping, just what do you call it? Like loose gun, like just wanted to cause havoc
Yeah.
all around
Well,
it.
no, it was just having a good time. It was an
Yeah.
old demon, like I said. They usually don't come into the physical world, but if they want to create a little chaos for themselves and watch set the cat among the pigeons and watch the
Yeah.
fun,
Hmm.
then they'll do it. Every now and then you'll get an old demon that doesn't mind doing that sort of thing. But the thing is, people think that if the demon is attached to an individual, right, that it only affects the individual, which is not true. It
Yeah.
affects everyone within their inner circle, and that's how they work. And you could be on the other side of the world, and say your uncle has an attachment, but you could live on the other side of the world, and you're still going to get repercussions. You're still going to get the fallout from it because you are connected.
That's interesting. That's what you have brought up. He's brought up to me a couple of times before that, like, in the grand scheme of things, our existence is a blip in the timeline. So if like you had a, I'll
Yeah,
let you.
so in the old days, they used to talk about bloodline curses, and one
Okay.
of my theories is, I make a demon mad. Well, I'm only going to live for 20 years, which is a blink of the eye to a demon, and my son
Right.
looks very
Yeah.
similar to me. So then they start messing with him. Then they mess with the
And it goes
grandson.
down the yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
how
and
that's
some of
how it
it's
works.
been.
People think that curses are like Hollywood. It's like no, there's only two reasons for a curse: a demonic attachment,
Yeah.
or a human spirit, where your great grandfather pissed off this woman, and when she died, she attached herself to him. She didn't ascend. She attached herself to him, and when he dies, they move on to the next in line, and the next, and the next, and the next, and that's
The
just the way it works, you know.
Yeah, that's so. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington. Um,
No,
it so
because I
in
have
the
a habit
movie
of
there's
picking
a
those things apart.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
the
kind
in
of
the
like
movie
being a nurse for 50 years. I have a habit of not watching medical stuff because I pull it apart.
the demon in the movie was Azazel, who was like I guess a forest demon or something, but he would pass from person to person by touching them, and
Mhm.
he was never able to be uh,
Killed.
killed because he would come out, and if there was someone within, I think it was like three. I can't remember the unit of measurement
Yeah.
they used back then. Heckers or
Rectors.
no. Anyway, he could if there was someone in the vicinity, he could transfer to that
He could
person.
jump in. He could jump into them. Yeah, yeah. Well, they don't need touch for
Yeah,
that.
no, he would just be able to if like that. He would
Just be quick.
quick.
In the
Yeah,
movie.
Yeah,
I mean,
in the movie.
you guys could go to a party. Say you went to a New Year's party, right? And it's a bunch of people there and stuff. Somebody has an attachment, and the demon's not getting the fun out of the person it's attached to. So it will simply jump to someone else who looks like a likely candidate.
Yeah,
And,
that's
and that's
basically what the movie was.
and they don't. A lot of people think that the minute that a demon attaches, the minute it sees you, but that's not true, because a demon will watch. They will. I liken them to a stalker. They will watch the individual. They will learn about their weaknesses. They'll learn about their strengths. They'll learn if they're easily manipulated or not. What's important to them? What's not important? What do they want to achieve? Do they want to be rich? Do they want to be famous? Um, do they want to be the boss's boss? Whatever. And
Yeah.
once they feel that they've got all the knowledge they need, then they'll attach. But sometimes, if the person has a lot of faith, and the person is not easily manipulated, they'll move on to somebody else. They don't waste
So
their
that
time.
brings yeah, that brings up a good question. That do people that follow a non-religious background, what are they called
Being
again?
agnostic.
Agnostic or atheist,
Agnostic.
Are they more susceptible than people that have faith?
Not really. Because well, my husband's agnostic. He believes in a higher power, but he doesn't give it a name. And this is
That's
a man who is, he's an auditor, so he's, very left-brained. And we went to the coast one weekend to visit my cousin and her husband. And we're staying at our timeshare. And I'm upstairs and I feel a negative entity. And my husband bellows at me, come down here, there's something here. So what he sees is a shadow person. And it, like, the minute I came down, it, like, zipped through the French doors and left.
Wow.
And he's like, what the hell was that? And I said, oh, that's a shadow person, dear. I said, welcome to my world. He says, I never want to see that again. Ever.
we
like,
were
well,
in
chances are you won't.
we were in my apartment one time going over video, and we both saw a shadow on my hallway wall, and we both looked at each other, and it took off at the speed of light, and
The minute I looked at it, it took off.
he was like, what the hell was that?
Man, it was 5'7".
Yeah, they don't want to be noticed. Yeah, they don't want to be noticed.
What caught, I mean, I could see it out of the corner of my eye, but when it leaned to be able to see us better in the doorway, that's when I turned. And when it didn't have eyes, it was weird. It was an actual shadow on
Yeah.
a wall. It wasn't like the shadowy creature type thing. It was a shadow on the wall, but
Right.
it leaned over. I looked at it, and it took down the hallway. And I went after it to see if, just to make sure it wasn't a person or something. But yeah, it was.
Right.
It was
It
pretty
definitely-
amazing,
Yeah, it was. Definitely startling.
life changing.
Of course, we didn't get it on
Yeah.
camera because I was messing around with my.
Of course, it's always the way of it. It's like Jack was telling me, he's telling us, one of the guys, get the SLS camera. And I looked at him, I said, why? You're not going to be able to pick up a demon on an SLS camera. I said, you're just wasting your time and energy.
Yeah,
I said, they won't show up.
there's big theories about that now coming out. I can't remember the name of the type of glass it is. It starts with a D. Dizelia or something like that. Glass that if you hold it up.
That's what the first.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was the first thermals built for Vietnam, and they have a red tint to them, and they had big issues in Vietnam because people were seeing things that were not there. Well,
Yeah.
they may have been there, but it was a different spectrum. A lot of them said they were like demons.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
They
different realm of
discontinued it.
existence. Yeah.
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 That type of glass is very hard to make, but there's a guy now remaking
Yeah.
lenses out of it because it's a certain spectrum that seems to pick up that sort of non-human entity. Because that's
Yeah,
they're saying that you can pick
it's
up
kind of like
UFOs
it's kind of like a digital camera these days compared to the old cameras. Because I started out with the 35 millimeter, but the thing is, it's like I don't need to see them. I don't need a camera to see them. I don't need a box to hear them. I can see them. I can hear them. I don't need any of that stuff. So when I get called in and I go into a location, I don't want to know anything about anything, in the location. Because I know exactly where it is, and I know exactly what it is. So I just go and do my thing, and I'm out.
And you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to. Has there ever been a situation where you've gone in to either help or just been in the situation where the situation it felt like more dangerous than you could personally handle, that you would maybe
No.
need help?
No,
That's awesome. That's
because I've been
Generally,
in
yeah.
where there's 10 demons. when I went to England, I went to a place called The Cage. And it used to be a medieval women's prison. It was the haunted location in all of England. And I removed the demons that were there from a distance.
awesome. Because I know.
So do you think it was it the demons making it haunted, or were there other spirits there?
Oh yeah, there were demons. I went back because a stupid woman. She decided to rent out the house, and people brought in witch boards and things like that, and it opened the portal, the demonic portals, the dark portals back up, and they showed up again. So I went in person this time, and they were in the walls, they were in the ceilings, they were in the floors. I mean, they were everywhere. And it just took me a couple of minutes and cleared the place out.
That's awesome. Because
But, you know, if I would never send in anybody who didn't have angelic energy into a place like that, because if you have any doubt, any fear in yourself, in what you're doing, and in God, you're screwed.
because I know this was several years ago. Rick and I, one of our friends, we used to do paranormal investigations together, and we used to do houses like where people
Residential.
live. Residential.
Why are you saying regular words?
I don't know. We got an email from a lady one time who lived in the Ozark Mountains out in the middle of the woods. And she was complaining that her teenage daughter was becoming violent. There was a constant smell of rotting flesh. Thousands of dead flies were showing up in the house. So I Google Earthed where her house was. And I was like, me personally, I was like, yeah, let's go help. And our friend Rick was like, no. But now,
Because there's a dark portal under the house.
yeah, but based on what you're saying now, like I was willing to go and help.
You got to know your limits.
Yeah, you.
It didn't scare me.
I
for
would
some reason.
never take anybody in. I've had friends where they're like, oh, you know, I had a friend that wanted to go with me. So I'm like, okay. So he's a medium, and he's very, very good medium. But he, like, I want to get into doing what you do. And I'm like, you don't have an archangel soul. I said, it's not going to work. And I said, you only want to do it because you were killed in your last lifetime by a demon, and you want revenge. I said, and that's not the way to do it. But he went with me, and I told him, I said, you have to put protection in place before you go. Well, his idea of protection was a crystal. And I'm like, and I'm in the middle of removing the first demon, and he's like, get it off me, get it off me. So there was one like jumping on him. And I'm like, I told Michael, I said, can you get it off him, will you? I'm a little busy here. But then we went outside, and he wanted to see what I see. I said, no, you don't. And finally I said, okay, hold my hand. And he saw the two demons that were in front of us. And the first one made a run at us. And he let go of my hand, and I put up my hand and killed it. But
Wow.
he's like, I never want to see that again. Never, ever, ever. I'm
I
like,
can
a
imagine.
crystal will not protect you. A crystal only amplifies energy. You put good energy into it, it'll amplify. You put bad energy into it, it'll amplify. So there are very few things that'll ward off a demon.
That's
And I
a
wrote a book
valid
called
point
The
that I
Dark
think a lot
Side.
of people don't realize.
Yeah, yeah. I wrote a book called The Dark Side of the Paranormal, and it gives away all the demons' fears, their weaknesses, everything. They tried to stop me from getting it out there, but I got it out there anyway. I gave away all their secrets, you know.
Is it true that one of the main weaknesses of a demon is once you find out its true name, or is that a myth
That's a
that
myth.
that I've
You don't
often
have
wondered
any power. People say, oh, if you know their name, you've got it made, you've got power over them. No, you don't.
Yeah, it's just
No,
a name.
you don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
It's
often thought
it's
that.
a nice thought. That would be nice, but no.
I know you were wanting to talk about.
Sorry, I'm looking up your book. You
What's
can get off of Amazon.
Oh yeah,
Well, it's in
yeah,
a
they're on Amazon. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna order that tonight.
Yep. How, in that book, like, is that your first half of you doing this and putting it together, or is it later on that you decided to put that out?
No, I wrote that 3 or 4 years ago because people have been bugging me to write. A friend of mine has been bugging me to go to do a body, mind, and spirit expo, and I'm like, ah. So I went ahead and did it one year, and they told me, well, you get a lecture for an hour, a free one. I'm like, okay. And my friends are like, oh, talk about angels. I said, hell no. I'm going to talk about the dark side of the paranormal. And I was a little bit late getting into the lecture, and they were standing room only. And I was like, okay, you know. So I gave my lecture, and people are like coming by for hours afterwards, like, thank you for doing that. People are avoiding it. People don't want to hear about it. But all these people want to know about it. I'm like, yeah, people need to know. And so that's what took me to writing the book.
what advice would you give?
Like beginning paranormal people that aren't.
Yeah,
I mean, because I feel like if you do this enough, you get kind of attuned to areas or environments.
or
Meaning,
feelings.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like, you walk into a certain area, you're like, okay, there may be something here, versus
Right. You get
somebody
this,
just walking
your
in.
hair on the back of your neck stands up, and you're like,
Yeah.
and my stomach feels like it's in my feet. Yeah.
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 What would you give
I
some?
would tell them to be careful. Do not provoke. To provoke is to make yourself a target. To acknowledge anything is to make yourself a target. I would tell you to say a prayer before you start the investigation and ask that nothing negative be allowed to attach itself to you, because doing an investigation, doing a reading, scrying, doing EVPs, it all opens doorways to the other side. And when a person opens a doorway, it can let in anything and everything. And they will take
So,
advantage of that, and they will follow you home like a puppy dog. And if you piss them off enough by provoking them, they'll attach themselves to you, and then you'll be sorry.
so we've often talked about that per se. That in my opinion, there's no difference between a Ouija board and doing an EVP session. You're still
Right.
doing the same thing. You're just using different tools to accomplish it.
Right. All it is a tool, whether you're using a bowl with water for scrying, if you're doing tarots, if you're using a witchboard or a Ouija board, crystals, doing a seance. It all opens doorways. And they're just tools. That's all they are.
And
People try to demonize like the Ouija board, saying, oh, it draws in nothing but demons. No, it's all about your intention. If your intention
intention.
is to contact a demon, that's what you're going to get. You
Yeah,
know?
I agree with that.
It'd be
And
like leaving your front door open in the middle of summer. You know?
which we used to do when I was a kid.
Anything and anyone could come in, yeah.
If you don't have a screen door on, you're getting everything in
Yeah.
the wild coming in.
Yeah, well, I have 2 pit bulls, so
Yeah, that helps.
that'll take care
And
of business, yeah.
Hey everyone, this is JD with Chumming with the Spirits podcast. What's the perfect way to spice up any recipe you can think of? That's right, it's the perfect sauce. Big Fork Brands has a wide variety of the perfect sauces for any occasion. If you're craving something special for that late night snack, mid-afternoon pick-me-up, or just something tasty for the special event, be sure to check out their amazing bacon sausages, paleo pork jerkies, and flavored meat sticks. Of all the products can be purchased at www.bigforkbrands.com. Here at Chumming with the Spirits podcast, we always keep some of their incredible sauces and meat sticks on hand for those long days and nights of recording. Don't forget to use the code CHUMMING, CHUMMING, at checkout to receive 20% off your order.
I wonder if that what we were just talking about, the intent and intuition, I constantly have when we go on investigations or to places. I don't like to be anywhere by myself, especially in the dark, because
Says the paranormal investigator.
I get the feeling that they know that I can
It
sense
makes you
them.
vulnerable. Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
do. Oh yeah, they know when somebody can hear them, see them, sense them.
And I hear things
I mean,
more.
that's what I mean. Your nickname's Parachum because you chum the waters. Things,
Yeah.
if it's haunted, there's usually something.
It's usually going to come to me.
Yeah,
I don't know
and
why.
because you have a warrior angel soul, they'll be attracted to you, because a
Yeah, it's
warrior angel is the enemy. You know, it's just like Ariel. You know, that's why if I go anywhere, the frigging demons clear out before I even get there.
yeah, it's no matter where I go, someone will put me somewhere and stuff happens. You put
Oh
another
yeah,
person in the same situation and nothing happens, but it always happens to me. I
yeah,
don't know
because the
why.
warrior angel's like a catalyst. You know, it makes things happen. The warrior angel will make things happen, just like Ariel makes things happen. The minute I go into a location, you know, they're very very active.
Yeah,
And you
same.
know, I did a show called Paranormal Crossings years ago, and you know, my friend who's an ordained minister, it was his show, and about 30 minutes into the show, the 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 hostess said, you know, something just broke the air. The air's been, you know, on me for this entire time, and suddenly she said I had an impression of a huge wing going over my head. And then they saw in the reflection of the monitor, you know, that you watch the monitor when you're doing the shows, that an angel had stood behind my friend Aaron's where he was sitting
Wow.
and had his hand on his shoulder. I said, I brought Michael with me. I said, there's a demon here. I said, and it needs to go, because I was communicating with Michael and told him, I said, the demon was following the souls that were coming to the interview that had followed me. And Michael wrapped its wing around it and sent it back down into the dark realm. And about 31 minutes into it, you could hear the demon scream
Wow.
as it's cast down. My friend calls me up at like 3 a.m. and says, oh, we heard that. I was going over the show and we heard this. I'm like, yeah, it's just a demon screaming. It's okay. You're fine.
No, it's okay.
That's just normal. You know, like when I do radio shows, sometimes they'll pick up things they don't want to.
That's crazy. I wonder if
Well,
we'll pick anything up.
We'll see. Well, she's in a protected location, so probably not.
But
We-
here,
We've
Yeah,
had
but you guys aren't.
no.
no. We're probably in an active location. This is the apartment that we saw the shadow in, and we've had
Yeah, yeah.
we did another podcast, Unraveling the Darkness, and I'm in a newer hotel, and there's orbs around me. I couldn't see them; they were clear as day because all I had was I had the light on in front of me, and the room was dark behind me. I went back and played it. There's orbs. It's not like an IR reflection. It was something making light
Lights.
move around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But-
It's like when I went to when I was in England and I went to God, now I'm going to bring it. Anyway, went to England and went to the Summer Palace of Henry VIII. And
okay.
my friend Howard Hughes, he's recently passed, but he did the Unexplained Files, and he wanted me to tour Hampton Court, which was the Summer Palace for King Henry VIII. And when we went in there, you know, we went into the main hall, and the end door opened, and my friend's looking at me like, "What's there?" I said, "Nothing." I said, "It's just King." I said, "It's Henry VIII." And he called me a witch, and I told him he was uglier and fatter than his picture. And he slammed the door, so we're good. But we went into the Great Hall, and you could my son was filming, and he could see Anne Boleyn go up the staircase,
Wow.
and he caught it on film. Yeah, it was freaking him out. And then we went into the kitchen area where they used to store their foods underground. You know, they dig out a hole and put the coal, make a coal cellar out of it. And the minute I went into the room, all these orbs started coming out. My son's like filming them. He's like, oh my God. And there was a demon down below. So I removed the demon, and all these orbs came flying out. And it's like, my friend is like, he's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, well, stuff happens when I'm around. Yeah. What can I say?
So you can see all spirits then, I take it?
Oh
Like, you
yeah,
can
yeah, demons, angels, dead people, yes.
So
Yeah.
when you get rid of demons, do they ever come back?
No.
Is that a
See,
stupid
the
question?
thing is that, no, that only, if I were just to send them back to the dark realm, sure, it'd be
Yeah.
like a boomerang, they'd be coming back. But only an archangel can kill a demon. And so about 10 years ago, God said, you know, because Lucifer told God one time, you're too lenient, you're too easygoing, you're not tough enough. So, and he pissed God off, and God said, from now on, you're going to kill them. I give you my permission. So from then on, we don't send them back to the dark. We just kill them. And when you slice it, it's done, the battles are done in a different realm of existence. I call it no man's land because it's a realm that doesn't exist, but it exists between heaven and hell and the physical world. And it's the way of old, you know, you fight with swords. You know, swords
Okay.
are light, swords are dark. And when you slice through a demon with a light sword, they're molecules. They turn into molecules and they spread them on the stars. They can never come back again. Once they're dead, they're dead. And that's why they fear death,
Interesting.
because it is the death of the energy that makes them up, you know?
So what do you think attracts demons to locations like that castle? Why would that
A lot of
particular?
a lot of violence, you know, a lot of violence, a lot of anger, insanity. You know, Henry VIII was nutso, you know, and he was very violent.
A few
And
people.
you'll find you'll find them in prisons, you'll find them in hospitals, anywhere there's death, anywhere there's violence, and it's a stomping ground for them. You know, they like it. You know, they love it.
So,
I
Abandoned
mean, I've
churches.
been to a lot of different places in England and Glasgow and Edinburgh, you know, so it's like, yeah, okay.
that's,
Yeah, England was pretty interesting because everything is like we think old in the United States.
yeah, I know.
That's all brand new
Oh,
over
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Was the I
Compared to them, we're brand new, yeah.
yeah. Well, I was in a small town and like almost every small town over there has some sort of cathedral churchyard. I mean, they're all
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Gothic
yeah,
style, beautiful, but
right.
I was really surprised how calming the churchyard was just sitting there. I mean, you're sitting around
Yeah,
graveyards that are 1500s, if not some of them are earlier than that. It was just odd to just be
yeah.
in
So
such a
it's like Rosalind Chapel, going to Rosalind Chapel. I mean, if you, I went with a couple of friends of mine the husband's older, and he doesn't believe in the nonsense. And we went into the crypt area, and we were by ourselves, and he's standing over in this one area, and he says, why do I keep hearing these voices? I don't understand where they're coming from. I looked at him, I said, because you're standing right in front of a portal. I said, the voices are souls that are coming and going. And then we went out back where the graveyard was. And I told him, I said, come over and feel this. There was a monument with like an urn with a robe that's draped over the urn. And he was behind it so he couldn't see the name. And I said, put your hand on the urn and tell me what you feel. And he says, it's really strange. He says, it's vibrating. I'm like, yeah? I said, come around this side and see who it is. He came around, and the name on the urn was Reverend Brown. I said, even in death, I said, this is a portal. I said, even in death, he's helping those cross to the other side.
That's cool.
And that freaked him out. He became a believer after that.
Well, so you brought up a good point just a second ago from your story that you've told me before. Is it possible? Well, let's back that up for a second. Are certain locations like churches and graveyards, they call it hallowed
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 ground. Hallowed ground. Yeah.
Sanctified by usually a priest or a church.
Is it possible if a church becomes abandoned for so long that it opens up the gateway for those negative demonic entities to come in?
A lot
Or
of
is-
people believe that if you're in a church, that you're on sacred ground and the demons can't come in. But that's not really true. I've seen them in churches. That's the thing. And it's a matter of the intention behind the building of the church.
Mhm.
If the building of the church was a matter of faith, okay, and the intention put into the building of it and the design of it is faith, yeah, they're not going to hang around. You're not going to find them there. But if it was, say this wealthy dude says, I want to build a church and I'm going to, dedicate it to my mom, and I've got all this money, so it's all about using his money to make a name for himself or make a name for his family, then, you're going to find him there because it wasn't built for the right reason.
Interesting.
And also, if they're abandoned and there's no worship going on, you don't have that
connection.
But even if it was built for the right reason, even if it's been abandoned for 100 years, you're not going to find a demon in there. They will not go in. They might be outside, but they wouldn't go inside.
So that church might not have been built for the right reason.
May not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all about that. And people don't understand, when I died and went to the other side, and I was merged with Ariel, all of this information comes out. It's like somebody gave me a download in my brain. It's like I can understand demons even though they speak in Aramaic. And I never learned the language, but I understand. And that's part of her. So that enables me to do that.
And I've often wondered, because I've heard this theory before, that when you die, it brings you closer to things. And I've often wondered if that's why I experience things more, because I'm pretty sure I died when I was 1 year old from a fever or something.
When you die, it opens up a portal within you. So that it's like I've been dead. I died in a motorcycle accident and went to the other side. It's like, back in '86. It's like, okay, so this is the reason I'm here. No more unicorns. Okay, fine. Whatever. You're usually die for a reason. And it's either, but some people, when they die and they have a near-death experience, bring something dark back with them.
I've heard that too.
It just depends. Yeah, it just depends. And most people don't, but every now and then it happens. But yeah, it's usually for a reason. It's to either awaken the soul or to awaken the abilities within the soul.
So I
With
wonder
me, it
if
was just to give me the name of the angel that resides within me. So it's like, there you go.
I wonder if, because they talk about going and doing dream regression and all that kind of stuff. I wonder if I did experience something when I was 1 year old crossing over, if
That could be brought back.
that could be brought back, or if the capacity of my brain was too young to understand.
Do you remember anything from your 1 year old when you were a 1 year old?
Just a thought.
It's hard for the human brain to understand what it's seen in the other realm of existence, in any of them. There's a dark realm. I've been in the dark realm a few times because I've had to go there because of reasons I shall not go into. But it's different. It's hard for the human brain to differentiate. That's why if I go to one of the other realms, it's usually with Ariel in, she's the one in control. So I see, hear, and feel everything that she sees, hears, and feels. So I know what's going on each and every time. So that's how I get my experience.
So, where are some of the other places that people can go besides Amazon to find your book to learn more about like what you do and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, they go to my website, which is mysticconnections.org. I'm about to release my bio.
Okay.
You want to know about me? Listen, read the bio.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely get it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be? Because he mentioned you were raised in Kansas or born in Kansas.
You said you were.
Yeah,
born in Kansas.
I was born in California. Spent the first 6 years of my life in Kansas, at my grandparents' wheat farm, and then we moved out here to Oregon after that. So
Where
in
at?
Kansas?
Sorry.
Kansas City, Kansas, right on the outskirts, Reno County.
That's where we're at.
That's where we're at. We're in Edwardsville right now, so it's
Yeah.
just over the border.
Yeah, I live in a smaller town called Toganoxie, just north of here. And
Yeah,
then where
my
at in
grandma
Oregon?
was my grandma was from Atchison.
Oh,
Yeah, we
okay.
know that town. That's
That would-
30 minutes away from my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you have the
Yeah,
This-
I live in Oregon City, which is a small town
Okay.
outside of Portland, about 15 miles.
I've heard of
I
that.
try to stay away from Portland.
yeah, I've done a few trips up to Vancouver and Portland area. The waterfalls in that are gorgeous up there. I have a cousin living in
Yeah.
Eugene, so I've been
Oh yeah.
up there.
Mhm.
Crater Lake's amazing.
Oh yeah.
That's
I
just
live
breathtaking.
I live in the country. I live where two rivers meet, the Clackamas and the Willamette River.
Yeah, nice.
That's cool. One of my
I have acreage and it's quiet, and that's what I like.
side note. One of my life goals is I can't remember where it's at, but where you can go and see the separation of the oceans.
Oh, where the two waters are.
They don't mix, and like one's like brownish and
The other
one's
one's
the blue.
You'd like Astoria where the waters come in because you can see
Yeah,
the difference.
Astoria is.
I want to go to Astoria
yeah,
just
that's
because
where
of
the
this.
That's where the demons kind of hang out, you know.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, that's
Astoria?
where Zach went. Yeah, because it's right on the ocean.
So
It was
if-
a big port there.
yeah.
Yeah, I do remember reading about that. It's funny though
It
that
happened at there's two hotels, the Commodore and the other one, but yeah, there's a lot of demons there.
the guy that now owns the house from the Goonies is in Kansas
Oh
City.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've been by there lots of times. Yeah, that's funny.
So
It's a cool house. Yeah.
so you
It
lived
is.
up in Atchison.
No,
My
that's
grandma,
that's where
yeah,
her
my
mom
grandma
was.
was raised.
Grandma.
My grandma was raised in Atchison, Kansas, and like I said, she had abilities, and so, you know, back in her day, it was the thing to have seances at parties. Now, my grandma would have to avoid the seances because of her abilities. And there was a house there when she was young, and she was out on a date with her couple other friends. And the boys decided to break into this house that was known to be haunted. And my grandma's like, I don't want to go in there. You know, I just don't want to go. So they broke in, and they all went inside. And all of a sudden, everything starts flying all over the place. And then my grandmother heard a growl, and she looked up and she saw a demon at the top of the staircase to the second floor.
Do you happen to know what the name of the house was
Or the address.
or the address?
No, it no longer
Oh,
exists. My grandma just told me it no longer exists.
okay. I was curious to see if it
So
was like the McIntyre Villa or something.
we're the Sally House.
Yeah, it
Or
no
the
longer
Well,
exists. I can see it in my head because I see what she sees.
the
But yeah, she says it no
Ashton,
longer exists. They tore it down. Yeah, but my
Ashton,
grandmother
his
was
mother.
from, a lot of the stuff was handed down from generation to generation in our family. The women, all the women in the family, and she was always told that if you come across a demon, you have to ask it in the name of Jesus. What do you want? And it either has to tell you or return to the dark realm. So fortunately, she was her mind was with her, and she asked it. She said, "In the name of Jesus Christ, what do you want?" And it growled and then left. And she said she
Because
never wanted to encounter one again.
That's fair.
yeah, because I've often wondered. We've both often wondered this. That so Atchison is known as the most haunted city in Kansas.
Yeah.
Well, when you look at that city as a whole, is it Benedictine?
College.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is
I
that
think
it?
so.
They have Benedictine College there. Is the uptick in hauntings and malevolent spirits associated with that town because they're trying to get so close to a religious epicenter?
But are they malevolent?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Is like they
They're,
could just be spirits.
yeah, that's just, they want to rid the town of any kind of spiritual gifts. And they're doing
Yeah.
their darndest to try to cause disruption, lack of faith, that sort of thing. It's all about, if they can do that, it's a feather in their cap. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, because that would make sense as opposed to like why Ellenwood isn't as active compared to Atchison. Just
How many houses do you go into? Though? Because there's
good
three
point.
houses in Atchison that give tours that are
Mm-hmm.
known haunted, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot more houses
Yeah.
in the
Oh
area
yeah,
that people
yeah, I'm
just
sure
don't talk
there is.
about.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, and you stop and think about it. In the 20s, when my grandma was partying, I mean, there was, everybody had seances. Think about all the
Yeah,
portals that were opened.
That's
All the
true.
time,
think about
24/7
that.
there.
Yeah, and even early 1800s when that spirituality and all that was
Uh
going
huh.
on.
The spiritualists, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Look
we,
at
we did a
Good
look
minor.
point.
at the
We did a minor.
Winchester House.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
look at the Winchester House. I've been there, and people said, "Oh, well, did all of her, seances in the parlor or whatever." No, she
Hmm.
didn't. When I walked through there the first time, it's like her bedroom has the biggest portal in it, and that's where she used to do uh, her
Interesting.
seances. Yeah,
That's another
and they
bucket list
wanted
place
to
that I can go
know.
to.
It's like the guy that haunts it. They wanted to know the guy's name. I said, his name. Don't call him the caretaker. His name is Alfred Bean. Leave him alone, man. He's protecting the place. And she did not like that movie they made about Winchester
I can imagine.
House.
Yeah.
Because I
It,
went
it,
back
it-
a few years ago, right when they were filming the movie, and I walked through the house, and she was just up in arms about the whole thing.
yeah, that's the sad thing with Hollywood.
it is. She there just because that's one of her favorite places to be, or
Yeah, she's protecting it. She thinks she's protecting it from the dark ones. But the thing is, she's fearful of what it's turning into.
Yeah.
But I told her, I said, listen, I said, you know, they're preserving their family history. I said, I understand you don't like the movie. I get it. I don't like it either. I haven't seen it and I don't like it. I said, but the thing is, this is helping to preserve what you built. I said, and that's the important thing. And the legacy of your child and your husband.
'cause
It's,
that's something.
and they have a music room that has a stained glass in it with a saying. and they couldn't figure out what it was about. And I told them, I looked at them, I said, you don't understand. She was a spiritualist. I said, and basically what they're saying is that, thought becomes reality. And so be careful what you think. They never thought about it in that manner. I'm like, yeah, I mean, she was a spiritualist. They believed in that. Like, come on.
No, it's yeah. Now you mentioned that the whole spiritualistic movement. Well, and there's historical people like Aleister Crowley, who was known for doing stupid stuff and not necessarily closing
Uh-huh.
things down. But
Yeah, yeah.
in the world that we deal with, we haven't came across yet any malevolent spirits in the locations that we're going. Most of them seem to be normal people uh, that just enjoy, and that was one of the things that we've kind of brought up was not all hauntings are horror
Yeah,
hauntings. Some of
negative.
them are
Yeah.
yeah. Some of them
Yeah.
just
Some are just grandma, grandpa.
yeah. Well, they're
Yeah.
where they like to be, like their house. I don't
Hmm.
blame somebody getting mad for you tearing a wall down or doing stuff that
Right.
they don't
Or walking
understand.
through their house,
Yeah,
or trying
or
to
be
provoke them.
yes, not realizing that you're provoking, but yeah, I mean, I would be mad too if that's your favorite location in that.
Yeah. Yeah. If somebody comes into your house and tells you, do something, make a noise. I mean, they're not a trained SEAL to do things on command, you know?
Well, it's no different than anybody else. So if they don't know who you are, they may not say anything to you. Like
Oh, yeah.
it,
It's their choice. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if I was dead and you came to my house, I'd be pissed. Don't try to tell me what to do in my house. You know,
So
I mean, it's the
the
same thing, especially if they don't ascend. If they stay earthbound, a lot of times they don't see the changes. They don't see the passage of time. I lived literally on the Oregon Trail. And there used to be a girl, a little pigtail girl that used to pop into my car on my way to work in the mornings. I'm like, why don't you go? Why don't you go into the light, man? You know? And eventually she did, but no, I like things are changing. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. And I ran into this one woman she had been woken up. She had, basically, she had gone into shock. She died, and she had basically gone into shock, what I would equate as shock. And then she woke up. Something woke her up. And she was looking for her husband. She was looking for her children. But she had been dead a long time, 100 years. I told her, I said, look around. I said, look really see what's here. I said, your family's on the other side. I said, that's where you need to go.
Wow.
And she was so pissed, she walked right through me. I hate that feeling when they walk right through you. Man. I was sitting in a rocking chair, she's like, a rocker just went off. I'm like, okay, she went home. Okay, that's a good thing. Even though she was pissed when she went.
I've often wondered that about spirits. Can they have been dead for 200 or 300 years
Not realize. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
is
Uh,
there
yeah. I
an
was called
expiration?
in on a case. Nah, I was called in on a case where this gentleman had owned this house and he had had a major heart attack and died. And he went into equivalent of shock. And then when he woke up, there were strangers in his house. And his son and daughter-in-law were in the house and he was trying to talk to them and they couldn't hear him. And so every person that rented the house, he made sure that they left in a hurry. So they finally
Interesting.
got a couple in there that was, they were treating the house well. They were restoring it. They were keeping the gardens up and stuff. I sat down and had a long talk with them. I said, they're taking care of it. I said, that's what you did. I said, why don't you go and be with your wife? I
Yeah.
explained to him what happened, and Go with your parents are on the other side. Go. You know, he's in his 70s. I said, go. I said, your family will be fine here. So he left. But, you know, you have to sit down and you have to talk to them. You know, they're people.
Yeah. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Did you have another question?
No, I just, a lot of. So do you think there's? So you said earthbound, meaning that they didn't move on, and then you have
Right.
the others that moved on but come back, or can
Uh-huh.
they come back?
Yeah.
Because I.
Oh, yeah. They can come back. That's why there are a lot of white light portals around. It's like a swinging door. They can come back and visit, you know, and say the husband is waiting, you know, died, and he's waiting for his wife to come. So he'll come back and be with her until it's her time, and then he'll take her to the other side. You know, they'll hang around. My grandfather did that for my grandmother.
So is it
He waited.
possible? So, say my apartment here is the happiest place I've ever been. It's not true. Just hypothetically,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm overseas on vacation and I die. Can I come back to this in spiritual form,
Okay.
or am I locked?
Yeah. No, you can. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's all
'cause
about free.
we-
It's all about free will. Yeah. It's all about free will. Yeah, if you
'cause
decide,
we-
you know what, I'm so out of here, and you go to the other side, you can still come back and visit. That's why I tell people, I said, you know, when your loved one pops into your brain all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's because they're here visiting you. I said, because they're with you. You know,
because
it's like,
Jeremy's brought up a couple of
especially
times. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, especially if you can't hear them. You know, if you don't have abilities, or you, some people have a habit of shutting them down because they're afraid. You know, and when they pop into your head, that's the easiest way to know that they're here visiting.
Because Jeremy's brought up a couple of times a very good point that if a person dies in their 70s, we often hear about child spirits haunting locations or attached to locations. Is it a possibility that that's the 70-year-old man who came back to a place and time spiritually in form that he was the happiest he had ever been?
Yeah, yeah. You'll see, you know, people that have died in their 80s and 90s, and they'll come back looking as they did in their 20s, because that was the happiest time for them, or it was when their kids were born, or whatever. That was their time, you know, and they'll look like that. Like my grandmother, when she died, I see her as she was in her 40s, not as she was when she died. You know, I'm like, Grandma, you got younger. And she's laughing at me. She always laughs.
Well-
And I was like, yeah, I like this age better. I'm like, okay.
I don't blame her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of that came up because, like, when we're talking about children's spirits, like a lot of orphanages, you get children's spirits. That's
Right.
if it's a child that's earthbound, that seems kind of cruel, unusual. People automatically go to demons and whatever. And I was like, well, what if that's just one of the
Yeah.
locations that was the happiest
Okay,
time? You had all your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
or you know they're there because they're waiting for somebody else, or
Mm-hmm.
they,
Yeah.
you know, this is where their best friend was, and maybe he died, or maybe he moved on, and they're going back looking for their best friend. You know,
Yeah, that
and
makes
hanging
total
around.
sense.
You know, it's their best. You know, and when you're in an orphanage, you know, literally you're an orphan, so you have a tendency to hold fast to your best friend.
yeah, I mean, because that's your family. That
Yeah.
there's no one else
Yeah.
is there for you.
Exactly.
It's kind of like why theaters generally are older theaters generally are haunted. You hear people in the background,
Oh yeah.
spirits up in the balcony, but that's because it's a happy place for them that brought memories and it was something
Yeah.
they did
It's
and
like
enjoyed.
it's like the Queen Mary. You know, when I was there on the Queen Mary visiting, it's like, okay, let's find the swimming pool. The place is huge, man. I'm like lost, and my husband's with me. And here comes this guy down the hallway, and he's dressed like from the era when it first opened. He's a bellhop, and he's like, "You can see me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can see you." I said, He says, "Can you help me?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "If you tell me where the first class pool is, I'll help you." And so he gave me directions, and I helped him get out of there and cross into the light.
Yeah, I just got back from a cruise, and I never expected something that massive to be able to
Oh
float.
yeah,
Like,
huge.
it's like a city. I got lost several
Yeah,
times. It's amazing.
But the Queen Mary
yeah.
is
You
one of those
can't.
locations we'd love to get
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, you stop and think about it. There was a lot of. It was used as a hospital ship, so there were a lot of people that died there. There's a lot of souls there. I ran into a couple in the smaller ballroom that were dancing, and I'm like, okay. So
That's
we
cool.
we met here. We met here. We married here. We never had any children, and this is where we want to be. I'm like, cool. Have a good time. Yeah,
That's
no
awesome.
problem. Yeah, I don't care. I mean, this is where you want to be. You be here. I can't get my husband on a boat though because he died on the Arizona in his last lifetime.
Oh
He died
wow.
on the Arizona and was reborn in 1945 fairly quickly. So he has an absolute fear of drowning, but he's never even had a slip in the bathtub. But that's because he died in his last lifetime. He was below decks and he drowned.
Wow. I've heard that's one of the worst ways.
Next to being caught on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'd like to be caught on fire. Thanks.
No.
Either one of those,
Yeah,
in my sleep, I'm good
Yes.
with in my sleep. That sounds pretty good, pretty
yeah,
nice. But
yeah,
I don't know if we get to
exactly.
shoot.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
to close us out, like what?
Since we've been going for
Yeah,
almost 2
I didn't
hours.
realize we've been talking for an hour and a half almost. What are some of the upcoming events and
Or things you'd like to talk about.
yeah.
Shout out so
Yeah,
people
yeah.
know, where they can either find you or what you're doing. Because you said you're getting ready to do your bio,
bio.
which that will be
Yeah, I'm
neat.
getting
Once you,
ready to release the bio. I was supposed to have it up by May 1st, but I'm just finishing the
Thanks,
I'm
Heather.
just finishing the description on the back and on the back cover of the book. So then it'll be released. So probably next weekend. It'll come out on Amazon. It'll be an audio book format as well as ebook format on Amazon. But if you go to my website, mysticconnections.org, yeah, you can find you can send me a message if you're having a problem, if you think you have an attachment or whatever. I do intuitive readings, but I only do them like a couple days a week. So you can connect with me on that as well. I'm on Facebook. That's June Lundgren. You can find me there. It'll say June Lundgren, Demon Seer.
We'll put all those links up here.
Yep. And when you release
David.
the book, please hit us back up
Yes.
on Messenger. We'll be
Oh, yeah.
more than happy to put
Yeah,
the
I will.
links out and share all that. 'Cause we appreciate you reaching out,
Yeah.
taking the time.
Yeah.
It's been a few.
Well,
few weeks.
really like to go on the smaller podcasts, and help build following for them. Because I've
This
been
has
on
been
like
awesome.
coast to coast and a lot of bigger, things. But I like to help the smaller podcasts grow. That's why I'm all about this sort of thing. 'Cause I
Greatly
love
appreciate
doing
Yeah, we
it.
would
And
appreciate
it.
and
We
the
have a
people
small-
are friendly. The people are friendly and great. You guys
Yeah,
are really good.
we've been lucky to meet a lot of the podcasters in our realm
Yeah.
over the past
we
year,
have a small network of podcasts, Ghost Gossip,
Yeah.
Myth Monster Bullets,
and they're all
Drunken Cryptids, Cracking Cans, uh, Cryptids of Corn, Cryptid Paranormal. Everybody's been so amazing.
yes.
And wanting to help everybody out. I mean, because that's the big
Yeah.
thing is like, it's a wonderful thing to get people to be able to talk about this. Some areas it's hush hush. I think it's getting a little more normal, especially with the government now talking about UFOs. So if there's UFOs, maybe there's
Yeah,
some other
yeah.
things. Because we just did one about a month ago with Splintered Spirits and kind of talking about they're pretty much just spirits, but we were talking about cryptids and like it really bleeds over a lot because like where people see Bigfoot, you
Oh
have
yeah.
orbs, or you'll see UFO,
Or
maybe the
UFOs,
location.
yeah. Yeah,
Yes, and
like the MacGyver Ranch up in Washington. Yeah, yeah, Lake
I
Washington.
mean,
Yeah,
it's all a big umbrella and things to talk
yeah. I
about.
mean, I've connected telepathically with Bigfoot, and he doesn't want to have anything to do with the rest of us, and that's good enough for
I don't
me.
blame them.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Like,
Well, and
I told him, I said, I can't blame you.
yeah, well, and where you're at, the train, I understand why something would want to be out in that area. I mean,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
those forests and the waterfalls. I mean, it literally looks like a fantasy land. I mean, it is beautiful in that area. You know,
Yeah, like I said, we live on the right off the Clackamas River, so there's a lot of natural forest up there. You know, leave them alone for God's sakes.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah.
But thank you for your time. Thank you for
Yes.
reaching out. Thank you for hopping on
Thanks
with
for
us.
having me.
And thank you for putting up with
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
questions.
And if you have anything
Well,
new,
you know, the only stupid question is when you don't ask.
that's fair.
I'm I'm quoting that.
Yeah, well, I'll put that on a shirt, please.
Yeah. We're gonna put that on a shirt for you.
But yeah,
There you
please,
go. There you go. Yeah.
if you get anything new coming up, we'd be more than happy
Yeah,
to help.
I'll let you guys know. Yeah, I have a friend that owns Twisted Reels Productions,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah,
she's
I've heard of
a
them.
producer, and she's wanting me to come down in June to do their show and stuff, fly down to California. So may have something for you there. As soon as I know, I'll let you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as soon as you get
absolutely.
release dates and all that, we'd be more than happy to put
Yeah,
that out. Make sure
yeah,
our small
absolutely.
following
Yeah.
knows.
But you guys take care of yourself. I had a great time. You're wonderful
Yes,
people.
thank you.
Yes,
Thank
it
you.
was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you again, and hopefully we'll talk to you in the near future.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Need anything? Give me a shout. I'm here.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much,
Thank
Jim.
you.
Alrighty,
Bye.
take care. Bye bye.
Bye.